Hey everybody, I hope you're doing very well. Thank you for tuning into this week's video. My name is Iris. In my videos, I talk about self-love, relationships, and our expanding consciousness. And in this video, I am talking about being alone versus that feeling of being lonely and disconnected. So let's talk about loneliness and being disconnected. It's really easy to feel that, especially given what's going on in the world today and how we're all self-isolating. That in and of itself creates that disconnection from other people. And there are a lot of people who don't have direct family that they live with that they can connect to. So they, in essence, are disconnected and they are also alone. And it's not just this time of in our lives and what's going on globally that is causing a lot of people to sink into loneliness. Loneliness happens at several points in our lives. When we lose a best friend for whatever reason, whether if we lose a spouse, that invokes loneliness. When our kids grow up and move away, that creates a sense of loneliness. And that loneliness is a very uncomfortable feeling. We feel very disconnected from the way our life used to be and the way we related to people in our lives that no longer are there at whatever level and capacity. It creates a shift and it creates a void that we so desperately want to fill with something, and it can create such loss and such sorrow and such deep sadness within us. But it's not just loss that creates loneliness. Loneliness, you can be in a relationship and still feel lonely. Again, it's the disconnect between the way things used to be, where you had resonance and a connection, and that connection is no longer there. And now you're having this experience of, it used to be this way, it's not this way anymore, and it's that space in between. And it's like we become disconnected or detached from the way things used to be. And in a sense, it is us evolving and growing, and but we don't have that awareness. We just feel that we know that something is missing. Things are not as they used to be. The resonance with a significant other isn't what it's used to be. It creates loneliness within us. Homeless people. I've never been homeless, but I can only imagine the feeling, that loneliness of not having a family in the true sense of what family is. I'm sure that they have a community that they surround themselves with that they call family, but it is that sense of loss and the sense of connection. And really, I can't really speak to it entirely, but I do know that a lot of people have a really difficult time around Christmas time and around significant holidays. And people become very lonely because they are very detached from a way of life surrounded by the people that they used to connect with that no longer exists. And it's that void in between. Now, let's talk about being alone. Right now, there are a lot of people who are forced to be alone, and they are finding it very difficult to be alone. They're finding it very difficult to be with their own thoughts, be with their own feelings, be with their own emotion. And it's our tendency to want to fill, again, that space with something because we don't want to look at those emotions, those thoughts, those feelings that are just dying to come up and be looked at. So, what's the bridge between loneliness and being alone? There's a common denominator that I've discovered between these two things. And the common denominator is the disconnection from who we are, the way we perceive externally to us. And we're missing the opportunity to go within and have a look at what shifts, changes, adjustment, healing, inner work, creativity is wanting to be set free from us. And depending, whether you are uncomfortable with being alone by yourself, you're not comfortable with your own company, or whether it's an invoked sense of loneliness because of isolation or because of something else entirely that's going on in your life, it's an opportunity to pivot and have a look, turn around and look at yourself and examine those parts of you that need to shift and adjust so that you can allow new things to come into your life. Sometimes when we are in very deep loneliness, we become so closed off that we don't allow new things to come into our lives. Same with being alone and not being comfortable with our own company because we're so used to external distractions from that are stopping us from looking at the parts that need to shift and change and move so that we can allow more things in our lives. And what I've come up with in that disconnect and the ability to go within and have a look at our situations, regardless of what it is, being alone or feeling lonely, is that there is something that is trying to emerge from you. And oftentimes, the best way to let that which is trying to emerge from you out is through some creative outlet. And I have discovered for myself this to be true. And that is when we don't have an outlet for our creative expression, and this could be for your work, it could be for a hobby, it could be anything for you, but we were all born with something very unique to us, very creative, that is always wanting to be expressed. So, and this is an opportune time to do it. And that's what I love about this time. In spite of the tragedy that is out there, I don't want to be insensitive to that. This is a really great opportunity where the universe is basically, slammed us closed to say, okay, let's all just stop and breathe and let's take some time to slow down and really tap into our full self-expression. So how do you express yourself when you are alone and when you are feeling lonely? Because we have to be able to pull ourselves out of our own abyss, right? So what is it within you that is wanting creative expression? How many books have you read during this time of self-isolation, or even before that? How many times have you thought, oh, I really want to read that book, and then have never had the time to do that? Now you have the time to do that. This is a great opportunity. Self-expression, creative expression happens through learning. That's one way. Read books, take an online course, listen to books on audio. I'm a huge Audible fan and I consume content on with books on audio, and I love it. Who do you watch if you're, there's all kinds of yoga and there's exercise YouTube videos. So now you can become fully immersed in learning how to do yoga or learning how to do Pilates, or if you're into tarot card readings, there are so many readers out there who are now doing the teaching for free online. It's a great opportunity. So learning is one way. There's also painting, there's also dancing, there's also writing. Maybe you yourself wanted to start a new YouTube channel. Maybe now's a great time to do it. And plus, it's free. And, so whatever it happens to be, but I do know that a great way to pull yourself out of alone and that the depths of loneliness is through creativity. I know that to be true for me, and I know that I'm not the only one who finds relief in creative expression. So whether you are alone and are not comfortable by yourself, have a look at what you can do instead of binge watching Netflix or Amazon Prime. Have a look at what is trying to emerge from you, what's trying to be set free. And you never know. The beautiful thing is that when you allow yourself to do something creative, you never know where in 1 month, 6 months, I was going to say 2 months, 6 months, a year from now, you never know where that is going to take you, because when we tap into our creativity and we let it out, it takes us places, and it's amazing. It aligns us with something that we are really, really happy and passionate about. The same goes for when you're feeling lonely and you can't connect with other people in the way that you used to be able to do. When you align yourself with your inner creativity and you start focusing on that, could be, needlepoint, it could be sewing, it could be um, baking, and just driving downtown and leaving your baking, for people to just come and pick up on the curb, for example, right? Whatever it happens to be, it starts to make you feel good, and there's more light and sunshine that flows into your life and into your heart, and you don't feel so lonely and disconnected because you've connected back to who you are. And I think that is really important. So whether you're alone and uncomfortable with being alone and with your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions, it's a great time to have a look at those things and to do some work around it. Or whether you're just feeling lonely and disconnected, creativity is going to bring you back in alignment with yourself, and you are going to feel 100 times better once you have that opportunity and actually do that. So hope you have enjoyed this week's video. Leave a comment below, like, share, comment, subscribe. And until I see you again, take good care. Sending you lots of love. Bye.